okay, we're good.
Yeah, okay. Alright. So which one are we starting with?
You want to start with? We can start with the Weber one, like you said, or the Du Bois one, because I feel like that's what we all read the most of.
I mean, like, as far as the question goes, is inequality inevitable? Personally, I think yes. But what Weber was saying was just basically defining class and status, like, and the differences between the two, and differences between, like, social class and economic class, that kind of stuff. But I didn't really see how he addressed the inequalities. Like, on the last page of it, he mentioned the word inequality, but it didn't make any sense to me. Like he said, the equality of status among the American gentleman, because a lot of things in quotes, but okay. For instance, is expressed by the fact that outside the subordination determined by the different functions of business, it would be considered strictly repugnant wherever the old tradition still prevails. What does that mean? Yeah, I didn't understand what he was saying.
It's like the old tradition meaning like white patriarchy. I mean, how like society was dominated like in that one format for like pretty much since like the founding of the country.
And so is it like equality amongst those people? Like how does equality play into what he was saying?
Like equality like for people that are a part of that group, I think. And equality for people that are a part of a different group. Like the groups have equality within themselves, but not with each other.
Okay.
Yeah, I got that he was like separating like the non-owners and the owners, and like non-owners don't have access to the same thing that the owners do. Yeah. So that's the main point that I got from that.
Okay.
It's like the whole like separate but equal thing. I mean, as like awful as that sounds.
Yeah. But then in that case, inequality still prevails because like even though the class they have their equality, it's still like people don't just exist within their class. They have to interact with other people outside of their class. So that's where the inequality will show up.
Once I think of like class mobility, because it's like during that time where like that was the format. There was no class mobility. It was like if you're in this group, then you've only got so much opportunity or potential. Like if you're in this group, the potential could be like exponentially greater.
Yeah.
It's
yeah, like if you're born in that class, you're gonna stay in that class till you die. Like that's
right.
Social mobility from one class to another is not as easy as people make it seem.
So I think that kind of ties into like what she's saying in lecture when she's talking about like the whole idea of social reproduction. So I think she noted that it just means like in terms of like inequality, how you guys are saying like it happens over again. It's like a chain reaction. So like how you're noting that like when you're born into a certain class, it's like people assume or like just the way the society is structured, you're expected to like stay within that range. So it kind of goes into that side of this whole cycle thing. That's interesting.
And for Marx, we're talking about the alienated labor and commodities and stuff. I think alienated labor like ties in the most with this question.
Okay.
And how factory workers, proletariats, and all that didn't live the same life as the people who like owned the means of production. So that inequality was evident. What I was getting from Marx was not, he didn't really answer the question of whether it was inevitable. It was just, that's all there was.
Yeah.
Inequality. There was, for the foreseeable future, that's what it was going to be.
That was like his biggest thing with like Marxism and communism was like eliminating inequality, because like everything's equal, like pay's equal, everything. But like, cause in like a capitalistic society, there's obviously going to be inequality because there's different levels of wealth.
inequality is inevitable, or do you think that it can be non-existent?
I do not
I don't.
believe the latter
Yeah.
because I feel like even if the underdog were to succeed at some point, it would just be a shift in power,
Yeah.
not completely. We're all equal now.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
not at all how that's not how humans live.
Mm.
There needs to be superior and inferior.
I think it kind of contradicts. Oh, you go ahead.
No, you first.
Oh, I think it kind of contradicts
Yeah.
itself because, like, as humans, I think we're naturally competitive, and if you try to say like that everybody is equal, it takes away like how we learn like that whole human potential kind of aspect. So it's like, why try harder if no matter what we all win first prize kind of thing. So I think naturally, we are like there is no like there's no equality aspect. I feel like there's always going to be that person, and then you can think survival of the fittest too. Like that's how it's been for centuries. So, you know, predator versus prey kind of idea, which is sad, but
There's like the whole idea of like positive inequality that like drives competition.
Yeah.
And like not, it's like competitiveness based on skills and like hard work and not
Yeah.
like skin color or
Yeah.
sexuality or something
Yeah.
like
very
that.
good point.
So I mean, it's,
Where it's actually
Good
based on
inequality,
merit.
like, it'll always exist, but could it like move from like something like petty like that to like I just got this because I worked my ass off like harder than you did.
Yeah.
Like equal opportunity, but like inequality in the fact that like some people just don't work as hard as other people do.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that's what Ellison is saying too in The Invisible Man. Like, I think he's trying to like understand why society is the way that it is. Like he's questioning why he's considered such a social why he's considered a social problem versus just a normal individual, and he feels like that he's almost like a slave to the stereotype or to like his skin. Like he can't just be himself without people automatically looking at him and thinking one thing. So I feel like how even like when we were talking about in class, I think naturally we do when we look at somebody, we automatically like whether we know it or not, we're already basing our assumption based on like physical appearance. But do you guys think that we could, like future generations, do you think that we could change it, or do you think it's because of what we conceive to be? Like, if that makes sense. Does that make sense now?
Yeah, it's like I'm a peace and conflict studies major, and we talk about like there's an entire class devoted to like inequality and like
Yeah.
the disparity between like class and like gender and race and ethnicity and all, and it's like a wicked problem. I mean, like
Yeah.
there's no permanent solution. Like the only goal is like it gradually gets better with every generation. Like it never
Yeah.
fully goes away, but it constantly gets better
Mm-hmm.
because there's no like solution.
I think it would just be like new generalizations. Like it's not always based on like stereotypes of today.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would shift and be different, but still stereotypes because implicit bias is inevitable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it always be like we're always stereotype somebody when we see them because it's just how we are, like naturally.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that like in generations coming, it'll be like better. I guess.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I think it's oh, you had.
We
I
did
did
it.
every time.
That's like I feel like a lot of inequality is like just people learn. It's learned behavior. It's like your product
Yeah,
of your
that's what I was about
environment.
to say. Exactly.
Yeah.
I was about to say that same thing. Because I could even say my own experience, like, just like I was really sheltered, and I went to a private school. So like, honestly, when I transferred to a public school in like what was it, like my second half of middle school. It was like a whole different world. So everything that I was accustomed to in private school, it was nothing like the public environment. To be very honest with you guys, like I barely knew any cuss words, like, and it's just like it was a culture shock to me in that kind of sense. So I feel like, and then I was taught different ways, like, it was a diverse private school, but it wasn't just like all white, all black. It was literally like just a mix of people.
Mhm.
My public school was more white, so I experienced a lot more. I don't want to say it was prejudice, but it was a little bit of prejudice that kind of went on through the school. So it's kind of like a different aspect. Like I was thinking differently when I was around those students versus when I was in private school. So I feel like it does have to do with your environment.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of
Sure.
sense.
Yeah. Like with me, coming from the north to the south,
Yeah.
you know all of the stereotypes about the south.
Yeah.
So I was a little hesitant. What's gonna happen basically, but it's like, especially living in, I moved to Charlotte.
Yeah.
Like going from one big city to another big city was just another
Yeah.
big city.
Yeah.
Wasn't that different, but I was expecting like dirt roads and cows everywhere.
I'm weak.
I have cows for neighbors. I live that.
Yeah.
I live that life.
I live in South Charlotte, so I'm on the border. Like, I'm right by South Carolina, but I'm still like close enough to get downtown Charlotte. So I get the best of both worlds. So I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I'm like out in Elon. I'm like 30 minutes outside of a town.
Wait.
Yeah.
So anybody want to talk about Du Bois or Du Bois? Du Bois.
Is that French?
Yeah, I think it is.
His definition, or like, when we talked about inequality, was definitely easier to understand because things I've heard before.
Yeah.
Basically, inequality is based on race.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was that. Like, just saying basically that the Negro, especially in the 20th century, early 20th century, wasn't really free. They were still fighting for their freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, yes, definitely inequality because, like, we're still so far back. It's not even a fight for equality right now. It's a fight for freedom.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, that was pretty straightforward, which I appreciated.
So what do you think about his whole argument versus like Washington? Like, not to say who you think is right, but like as far as like the argument, whether there's the strengths, who do you think had the strongest argument and why? In terms of inequality.
I think Du Bois, because he was like, Washington wanted them to be submissive to white people and realize it and admit that they're inferior to white people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of true, like what he wanted them to do. Like he didn't want actually for them to be free.
Yeah.
He actually wanted them to like submit.
It's a form of slavery. But I'm thinking, because this wasn't like Washington speaking for himself, it was Du Bois speaking on what Washington wrote. Is a little bit biased because he was speaking from his own point of view about somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think naturally we would side with him because he was speaking persuasively.
Yeah.
But I did agree with him because from what it seemed like, he was saying that like general education was better in the long run because like you're seen as more intelligent, basically. And we shouldn't forego that just for vocational skills.
Yeah.
Basically. Because then it's like you master one skill, but that's all they can do.
That's exactly true.
Yeah.
And I
That's
think
not what he wanted.
that's a very good point that you made because when you really think about it, like I get how she was arguing that Washington was like was he in Mississippi or somewhere? He was in the deep South when this was going on. So it's like the level, how she was talking about how the whole level of violence was different. So it was his perspective. He felt like this was the only like outlet.
And I definitely see that.
Yeah, but it's still like when you think about it, it would be that whole idea of okay, they're taught the trade, but they'll never earn like how that we've talked about in class. They'll never earn the product. They'll still never be part of the bourgeoisie, no matter how hard or no matter how well you do your job or you actually make that widget or whatever it is, produce it. You'll never own the means of production. So that whole idea, the inequality will still exist. I think he was just thinking like we can, what's it called? Like live with it, not live with it, but like I don't know the word for it, but you know what I mean. I'm trying to say. So
I was thinking, I actually forgot what I was thinking. Okay, so Du Bois was basically saying, okay, what's his name? Washington was basically just trying to like end the violence, you know, and make some sort of compromise to. I feel like with that solution, was just putting a Band-Aid over a bigger problem.
Yeah.
And Du Bois was like, don't settle we deserve equality, we should fight for equality, and not just some second kind of throwaway situation.
That's very true.
And so yeah, I understood what Washington was saying and why he was doing what he was doing, but also it seemed like the easy way out. And for the big picture, long term, it wasn't the best option.
I can also kind of see Washington's argument in thinking that, like, even we had the whole civil rights era, but even today we still struggle.
It's like how far removed. Like,
so I can see both sides of the argument. Honestly, it was kind of like that idea of like, okay, even if we fight, how long are we truly gonna be, able to say that we're equal? And honestly, I don't think that. Yeah, well, there's not saying it should be like how you're saying it should be about race or anything.
Yeah.
But I think just in general, not everybody is gonna be. Yeah.
In the same field at all.
Yeah. It would change the structure, I think, of society. I mean, honestly, I feel like if we think about it, we would all be at Harvard right now. But then people would no, seriously, but I feel like people would think, okay, Harvard is not Harvard. Like if everybody can get in,
it's
not
not
special.
Yeah, what's the difference? But I think it can also be a good thing because we were talking about the whole difference of pay wages. People think, oh, doctors are like, human, like gods walking on water or whatever. They get paid all this money, or athletes, but teachers who do just as, important work, if not more, get paid so much less. So I can kind of see how that goes.
Teachers in North Carolina get shafted.
Yeah.
But it used to be like the only occupation that had a salary cap at $50,000, and they finally took that off in like 2016. Yeah, it used to be like you can only make so much as a teacher in North Carolina.
Wow.
Well, it's like it's a poor state, but like still, it's like you're not capping any other occupation. Like, it was just teaching for so long.
I think honestly, even the whole aspect of college is going to change because I love the fact that, like, I'm a first generation student. So college, when I walked my first day, I was lost. I didn't know anything about it. Like, my parents, they support me, but they don't have that experience behind their belt. So, like, as far as like just knowing how college works and how to work your way around, I didn't know. It was a new world to me. But I feel like now that I'm in college, a lot of people are expecting everyone to go to college. So I feel like as far as like jobs and just I don't want to say like a different spectrum. People are going to expect, okay, now it's not college anymore. Now it's like grad school. And then it's going to be like, no, everybody's going to grad school, PhD. So I feel like it's kind of, the competition's only going to get harder, truly.
Like, college as an institution, like, it drives me insane.
Yeah.
I don't understand that at all. It's like, because I read one thing, it's like, the inequality was so great that it doesn't even take a majority of people, unless your parents made a certain, or in a certain tax bracket, meaning they made a certain amount of money, like annually, then it was going to take you like 5 to 6 years to complete a 4-year degree simply due to like the rising price. So it's like if your parents aren't already making a crazy amount of money, then it's going to take you longer to pay for things than it is for other people. So it's like,
you think with them, like, the higher the demand for a degree, they make it easier to come here.
Yeah.
No. Good luck.
Just keep adding requirements.
Yeah. No, I think they have it set up to where it takes 5 years now, essentially.
Yeah, like,
that's crazy.
Because I know, like, one thing, which is absolutely ridiculous, it's like the hours you have to take compared to like your course requirements. So it's like you can, because I finished my major and my minor, and like all that stuff, and then it's like you have to have this many hours in class. And it's like, but I've already done everything. Like, I've taken all the classes I need. Like, just take random classes, like take like basketball or something.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's like
it's a waste of time and money.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's just this whole idea. I think college is we have to remind ourselves that college is still a business. Whether it's a nonprofit or not, it's still a business.
Yeah.
So, I think what was my other question? I I thought it was interesting, like when we were talking in class about the whole debate between Washington and Du Bois, whatever. There's actually a third theorist that I remember from African Americans' perspectives, but his name's Marcus Garvey. Have you guys heard of him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So his whole idea was just complete separation.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it's so radical, which I don't even believe it. But do you think that during that time, if they actually did that it would create this? It would kind of diminish inequality, or do you think it would just?
I don't know.
I think being separate's like the greatest way to create
That's what I
inequality.
thought.
Yeah,
That's what I
right.
thought. But
Like, we're separate because like we're not like this doesn't like it's just
Yeah.
like admitting
Even,
like this
like,
doesn't work.
Today, there are, like, say, school districts.
yeah,
Like, the poor school districts are typically minorities, and so
Yeah.
they're less funded compared to the white school districts where a lot more funding. So if you were to physically separate yourself in that way, it'd be exactly the same what you're doing to yourself at that point.
yeah.
So that probably wouldn't work.
I think his mentality, from what my professor was saying, was like he thought, okay, if we can't survive in that world, we can make our own world and be prosperous. But I feel like at the same time, it would still yeah, you may be able to create your own little community or whatever, but it would still be this separation. So what's the point? So I mean, it goes both ways.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people assume like separation means like equality.
No.
I'm not sure it
We know
does.
better than that.
Well, we made it. The time.
It was 25.
Is
I
it
think it's.
20? We're
I
at.
thought it was 20.
25 to 35.
Say one more
So you got like 3 more minutes.
Yeah, okay. I actually got, so just to end off what I was just saying. So the article where it was talking about why can't we all just go to the pool, pretty much it was just saying that this man, he's Jewish, white, and his friends are African American. He said he was pretty much explaining how back where he grew up, there was they used to play together basketball, baseball in this area, but when it came to the summertime, when it would get really hot, they had segregated pool areas. So his friends, he was my white counterparts had their pool in their backyard. So, but my black friends would have to go to the community pool, and he kind of just discusses this whole idea of separation and how he never understood why there was distinct inequality. And I guess they thought that the pool, they used it as a way to clean the black people, honestly. That's they were talking about sanitation and something else, I think. I can't remember. But what are your thoughts on that? I can find the quote while you're thinking, but
I'm not sure how to respond to that. That's
yeah, it was, I can't remember. Let me see if I can find it. He said it was residential separation, not Jim Crow policies. In the 1960s, pools built through Great Society programs were often in isolated black neighborhoods. Meanwhile, whites fled to private swim clubs in the suburbs. Yeah, it was really, and he's pretty much talking about this whole disappearance of urban swimming culture. And he thinks the pool is an area where it was we could come together as one. Everybody's having a good time, but just the fact that something as simple as swimming in a pool is also segregated was kind of this whole idea of why kind of thing.
I mean, it's I feel the implication, it's they built a pool in that community. It's here, you guys can't get this on your own, so here, we'll build one for you. But they didn't build a community. It would be different if there was a community pool in the suburbs too, but there wasn't, because everyone had their own. So there wasn't a quote unquote need. So it's it's the implication that's a charity in quotes gift.
Yeah, right. I don't really want to give it to you, but I'm just gonna give it to you. Just
Like-
kind of feel like you're equal.
It was funny because he also noted that it took away the power for black people to learn how to swim, which I really, people they always say that, but when I thought about it, I was like, wow, that's actually a really good point. What if that, because we didn't have access, I know my parents, they would have to go to a creek, but I mean a creek compared to a nice, pool is different. So that's also something that I thought about, but that was really interesting. So.
But to go back to the question about is inequality inevitable? I think, yeah, definitely. But inequality based on merit is something that I fully encourage. But
No participation awards.
yeah,
Essentially.
I know you have to work for what you have, but also, especially today, there are people who start a lot further ahead than other people.
Yeah.
And so, if we eliminate that, then we can do it based off merit. But if you start like 15 miles ahead and you're somebody else is all the way back there, and you're like, why can't you do what I'm doing?
Yeah.
It's like you had a bit of a head start. But okay. And so yeah, we get rid of that part of it. Then I fully encourage, because inequality furthers advancement, obviously. And so yeah, if we stay with the whole we're all equal no matter what we do, nothing ever happens.
Yeah.
And a stagnant society is not what we want. So I do fully encourage inequality in that front.
Like the causes of inequality should change.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I think the means of just like, not only say communication, but like money would be non-existent if you think about it. If inequality wasn't, because I mean, how could you say like when you're buying something, how could you say that this is worth a McDonald's burger is worth $1, but going to Ruth's Chris is like what $45 a plate? So I think like regardless whether we think it or not, it's going to happen, but it shouldn't be based on.
I mean, it's like, currency is a social construct, like that.
Yeah.
That piece of paper only means something because everyone says it means something.
Yeah.
That piece of paper is worthless.
Honestly, it's just trees, like I was saying. So.
I think a lot would have to change in order for me to be okay with like inequality based on merit, because then for inequality to actually be based on merit, a lot would have to change. So yes, it's inevitable. It could be a good thing at some point in time, hopefully. Right now it's not, but
that's a hard thing to think about though too, because if you say based on merit, why do athletes make more money? How can you say that? Yeah, I mean, I guess, but it's like, how can you say somebody that went to college and, you know, whether or not they went to college, the athlete went to college or not, but like, you know, worked so hard to get their degree, but decided to teach, doesn't get, you know what I'm saying?
That mass consumer.
So hard.
Entertainers in general, they make a lot of money.
If you didn't buy merchandise, if you didn't buy tickets, if you didn't watch them on TV, it's like they'd be as broke as we are. So it's like, I mean,
that's a good point.
the only reason they have that kind of money is because we buy into what they're selling.
Millions of people.
Yeah, that's
it's like a global scale, and not just like us, but.
Definitely.
Like us,
there are people who would like die for celebrities, get celebrities tattooed on their bodies. It's just like I wouldn't do
You don't
that
get
for
another
my
person's face tattooed on your body. You don't do that.
That's weird. I don't care who it is. It's weird.
That's very weird.
I'd rather have a name in someone's face.
Yeah.
So are we good? That's like 28 and a half minutes.